Close your eyes. Let the breath find its way home. No need to change it. Only notice. Inhale the present. Exhale the past. Inhale a soft return to self. Exhale all the ways you thought you had to be. Feel the ground beneath you. Imagine roots growing from the base of your spine, from the soles of your feet, reaching deep into the quiet belly of the earth. Whether you're standing in sunshine or wrapped in winter's hush, you are held. Now gently bring your awareness to the crown of your head. Imagine the full moon above you, ancient, watchful, knowing, pouring her light like honey down through your body. Let it flow down your forehead, into your throat, your heart, your belly, your womb or creative center, and all the way into the earth. She invites you into truth, into remembering, into reverence. Feel that invitation in your body now. Not to do, not to fix, but to become. You are the artist. You are the art. And this moment is the beginning of your next masterpiece. Hello, my gorgeous friend, and welcome to the Full Moon Chronicles for July. We are officially over the halfway mark for the year. And having looked at the work we've been doing and the people, the incredible women we have in this space, I decided that each masterclass we are actually going to tap into the duality of our global existence. The Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere on the same day are entering different seasons and therefore, in fact, have different energies to the moon. Now, this in and of itself, I think, really invites us to pause a little bit and to understand just how magical this realm is. Think about it. It is the same moon that has different energies and different invitations in different places of the world. And she's perfect wherever she is in the world. I feel sometimes that we are so stuck in witnessing only what is in front of us now for where we are, that we're losing out on a lot of the connective tissue, if you want to call it that, between ourselves and everybody else around the world. And the fact that we can all have such different experiences at the same time, and it's available to all of us at all times. And if we would just stop rejecting the differences and start opening our minds up, because we have so much capacity, quite frankly, mentally, to open ourselves up to the globalness of our existence at this time, our experience can only become richer. And we can start seeing how things at the opposite ends of the spectrum, I mean, Northern Hemisphere right now is in summer and Southern Hemisphere is in winter. But even within that spectrum, there are so many similarities, which is what we're going to explore a little bit today. So I am going to first delve into the Northern Hemisphere full moon, and then we're going to delve into the Southern Hemisphere full moon, after which we are going to see how they overlap, integrate, and how do we really get the most out of this. Now, my invitation with this also is that you invite in the understanding of the opposite hemisphere while bringing your main focus to the hemisphere in which you live, especially with regards to your energy. Because we definitely have a different energy in summer than what we have in winter. And that is perfect. And I think that part of this journey, especially for me, is learning to really work with the flow of energy, and that there are times, whether it's through my womanly body or the heavenly body of the moon, that I am more energized, more focused, more wanting to take action than at other times when I'm invited into greater stillness, into greater rest, into rejuvenation. And so it's about expanding our awareness and then choosing our focus energetically from where we are currently living. So having said that, let's delve in with the full moon in July in the Northern Hemisphere. So let me start off by reading a little piece for you about this moon, because I just think it's so beautifully stated and really helps us to connect into the energy of the moon. In the Northern Hemisphere, it is called the buck moon. Now, the buck moon is named for the time when male deer begin to grow their antlers anew. Have you seen them? God, so beautiful, right? Symbolizing growth, strength, and the return of power after retreat. Growth, strength, and the return of power after retreat. How often are we giving ourselves time in this crazy busy society to retreat, to rejuvenate, to reclaim, from which to show up? Can you start seeing how through this work we are becoming more and more aware of the price of the hustle society that we have created? And really the price is our ultimate power. Because when we are operating constantly from a state of exhaustion, yes, we can absolutely still create outcomes, but it is void of the potential that truly exists within us and for us. So this moon is an invitation for us, and especially for us in the Southern Hemisphere, to start understanding that if we retreat at the right time, we will show up at the right time with even greater power. So this is one of the reasons I wanted to start integrating Northern and Southern Hemispheres, because we can start seeing what's lying ahead for us, and more importantly, remember the perfection of the cycle. Okay, but I get distracted. It's a moon of embodiment, not just the dreaming, but the doing. Not just the dreaming, but the doing. I used to talk a lot about mental masturbation. You know, people get online and they listen to somebody and they feel so inspired and they go, yes, I did it. Now my life is going to change. They even get on a coaching call and they get the aha. And they go, yes, 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 I am complete. I don't need any further conversations. This is it. And then 6 months later, they're slid back. They're exactly the same. Nothing has changed. Because embodiment requires action, constant action, showing up day after day with the new action until the new identity is embodied. It just is. And so where are you not allowing yourself to take the action for ultimate embodiment because you're so caught up in the visualization, in the ideation of who you desire to be? This is where we start noticing how the inner shifts of spring and early summer have taken root and now are becoming visible in action, body, and identity. It's the moon of the high summer. The heat has settled in. The days are long, ripe, and charged with the energy of becoming. It's not about starting something new, but sustaining and embodying what has already begun. There's a natural invitation to pause and witness your own evolution. Who have you become? What internal power is now rising into visibility? So much to unpack in this. And I think a really great place to start is the antlers as archetype. Growth begins in softness, in velvet, and then solidifies through time, mirroring our own inner work. It requires us to take off the masks, the armor of protection that we have all learned to put on. And I'm not talking about vulnerability. I don't personally resonate with the word, especially not the way that it's being used in our society at the moment. I'm talking about allowing for the softness, for the velvet, and to understand that there is so much power in that. There's so much power and grace in allowing ourselves the softness in the new growth. From where stems that power? Because the softness comes from a space of absolute trust and faith. When we allow ourselves to embody our power in this world, it is a rebellious act of love. We don't see the buck refuse to grow their magnificent antlers because they don't want to stand out in the crowd, because they don't want to be challenged, because they don't want to be playfully engaged with others who show up in their absolute magnificence. It is this embodiment that we are being invited into, but more importantly, asking, who are we in this becoming? And observing and recognizing who we are becoming and how far we have come. I remember when I used to be cycling in South Africa, racing competitively as a licensed cyclist. My coach would take me out on these magnificent climbs. You know, the ones where at one stage you start thinking it would be so much faster for me to just get off my bike and push. But you sit and you pedal and you pedal and you grind and you just keep your head down. And I used to only look 1 meter in front of my front wheel. Just focus 1 meter in front of your front wheel and keep pedaling, because you're going to get to that meter and that meter and that meter. And then eventually you get to the crest and you go over and it's like, and then you get to the next climb. And my coach once pulled me up and he said to me as we got to the top, he said, stop and get off your bike. And I want you to look back at what you have just ridden. Because when you just have your head down all the time, you feel the exertion, you feel the effort that it's taking, but it doesn't look incredible because it kind of just looks like the next meter. And for a while there, I made it a habit of stopping at the top and looking back and going, damn, I just rode up that. Takes a special kind of woman to do that. And so that then became my identity. I was the woman who loved the climb and who climbed high. But we don't really take the time these days to acknowledge our becoming, to admire our becoming. And so I feel like maybe that is why so many of us never feel enough. We never feel good enough. We never feel worthy. We never feel like, damn, girl, I'm pretty damn special. I am the one and only me. And what an incredible one it is to be me. So this is the time to really start witnessing ourselves as the art. You'll often hear me talk about the artist and the art, and this is exactly it. As artists, we are still taught to create externally, that the art is what we're leaving behind, that the art is what everybody else can see. But truly, our greatest work of art in this life is ourselves. We are the artist and the art. And this is the time when we start looking at what we are creating as self. And I'm not only talking about the external, I'm not talking just about your body, and I am talking about your body, but I'm also talking about our emotional selves, our mental selves, our spiritual selves. It's about looking even deeper in who we are becoming and molding and crafting that which we are witnessing into our next masterpiece, understanding that there's always the next masterpiece. This moon is also about embodiment and integration, right? It's not just about setting the intentions anymore, it's living them. It's living by the rhythm of the moon. It's living the creation of your greatest art. It's living the eating, the moving, the connecting, the conversations. It is about understanding that all of this is not just about living in La La Land. It's about living in our physical bodies, in this physical world, and how it all comes together. And it also brings me to our bodies. Oh, Lord, I've had the most interesting journey with my body, and more importantly, my relationship with my body. And it's been 52 and a half years of this now. And I have now started a new experiment. I want to see what happens with my body if I truly love her. And I had to give this a lot of thoughts. Because if I'm truly in love with my body, would I eat what I have been eating for the past 52 and a half years? So I've been doing a lot of research lately, and my experiment is, how does my body respond if I give her a plant-based diet? And so this is something that I have just started. And I'm not saying that anybody else has to do it. It's just my personal choice to experiment with this. But what is your relationship with your body? You know, how do you dress her? How do you hold her? What What creams do you put on her? How do you express her with words, with actions, with fashion, with all of the things? Because that is what all of this is about for this moon, for the buck moon, is that embodiment of identity piece. There is also the pause, the witness of self, the witness of becoming. Oh, another thing that we so rarely create time for in our lives. So where can you start creating time for self-observation, for self-adoration, taking a step back and to see, who have I become? Who have I become through the projects that I started earlier this year? Am I proud of that woman? Is she an accurate expression of myself? Because it's still velvety. It can still be molded. There is also a great responsibility that comes with this moon, and that is about sovereign sustainability of self. I myself have had ideas of who I needed to be throughout the years. And even though when in the beginning I have great enthusiasm and energy for it, I have found that they were not my true self. And so my enthusiasm and inspiration would dwindle until they just stopped completely. And I see this still happening for a lot of people. They have an idea of who they think they should be in order for them to get respected, in order for them to be seen as successful, all of the things. But it's draining of them. It's not sustainable because it's not true to who they are. So if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, then this is going to be a fantastic month for you to really start witnessing yourself, who you are becoming, your identity, the art, when you are the artist and you are the art. If, like me, you are living in the Southern Hemisphere, this is the wolf moon. This is the time of winter, cold, quiet, and often confronting. Wolves are not just hunters, they are keepers of instinct, loyalty, and endurance. This is a moon of bone-deep wisdom and deep inner listening. Oh, I ran away from myself for the longest time, you guys. Literally biked away from myself and then ran away from myself and then swam away from myself. It was the gift of the Iron Man. There was never a moment of stillness. I always had to be training. I was also raising two kids and I was running a business and building another business and trying to keep my marriage together and all the things. Not ever wanting to find the quiet, the true quiet, the true stillness. Because I knew that in the stillness, I would have to confront myself. I would have to listen to what is working and what is not working and who I'm being that's out of integrity with who I truly am. All the ways in which I have self-abandoned. So is it any wonder that the old ones would choose the wolf to represent this time? Because it takes a courageous woman to be still. It takes a courageous woman to listen to her inner guidance, not from her head, not from her conditioned mind, not from the chatter, not from the outside world, but from deep inside. The place where you can go when it's too cold to go out. And instead of distracting ourselves, numbing ourselves by binge watching TV or getting busy in work, have to hustle all the time. This is our invitation for stillness and to do the deep, deep inner work. The seasonal energy for this moon is the days are short and the inward pull is strong. Unlike the rising outward force of summer, this is the stillness before the spring's renewal. It's a potent time to become radically honest with what remains in the shadows and what must be surrendered. In many ways, it mirrors the archetype of the crone, fierce, wise, and unafraid of endings. I believe one of the reasons why women become so powerful as we age is because we live through birth and death. We live through creating and releasing, beginnings and endings. And in a modern society that wants to live in denial, quite frankly, of this beautiful cycle of life, it takes a wise woman to embrace it with grace and dignity and compassion. So this moon for us is really an invitation to listen for what is unsaid. What is underneath the noise of everything that's howling for our attention? Which for the most part is self-created. We have a story of everything that needs to get done now. Instead of going, no, there is time and space for everything, but this is time and space for me, first and foremost, the most important part. It's an invitation to choose restoration and deeper alignment rather than external validation. See, we can't do this work when we are still trapped by the masculine modality that most of us were raised in. It's most definitely changing. I can see it, especially in the younger women of our time. They have found their flow way faster than those of us who were 100% brought up in the masculine time of goals and competition and hustle and all the things. We were praised for being Wonder Woman or Superwoman, right? She who just does everything. People would look at us and go, oh, it's like she's an Energizer bunny. She just never stops. Just go, 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 go. But it is the stillness that recharges us. It is the stillness that has us pause, reevaluate, re-choose from where to start showing up again, from making choices of what we want to plant in springtime. If we don't take this time to reflect, ladies, if we don't take this time to really have a look and see what have we created in the past year through our actions, through our choices. Do we want to recreate this? What is it that we want to create next? Who did we become in this process again? You see how it always comes back to the becoming, about the identity piece. But if we don't take this time, I can guarantee you that our next year is going to be exactly the same. And so this is that time for us to really start doing the deep inner contemplation in the Southern Hemisphere, so that we can start preparing for the rebirth. And preparing for the rebirth, again, is what needs to be released. This is the shadow work, what needs to be released, so that the new season can just emerge with vitality and clarity and newness and all the beautiful things. This is the time of bone truths, the things that you know in your body, but you haven't yet lived out. Things that you know in your bones. You can feel it. You can feel the truth in your bones. But there is still a story that you have of why you can't live out loud, why you can't live you out. And so we are being given this opportunity year after year after year of recalibrating, of rechoosing, of reclaiming. And again, it happens in the stillness. Now, winter is also the time of returning to the hearth, returning to home, the inner sanctum, nurturing the sacred fire of your becoming, and spending time at home. Twofold for me. So the one is the process of creating that sanctuary, not just for myself, but for anybody else who enters my home. But then also allowing myself to experience home as the sanctuary, not needing to go out and prove anything in the world. But this is my time to recharge and to reconnect with the beautiful people that I share home with. One of the things that I loved in childhood was cinnamon and sugar crepes. Oh, they were just the best thing ever. They just made me feel comforted. And so when my kids were growing up, and especially after we moved to New Zealand, where winters can be bitterly, bitterly cold, on the days that they came home from school and the weather was really, really shit, raining and dark and cold, I would make my kids hot chocolate and cinnamon and sugar pancakes. We would light the candles and we would just all get into PJs, and yes, it was the middle of the afternoon, but it didn't matter. It was just nourishment of self and deep, deep connection. And so just last week, for the first time, I made little Adam cinnamon and sugar crepes. He's never tasted it before. And he was like, oh my God, this is the best dessert ever. Okay, he put sprinkles and icing sugar in his. But that's besides the point. Point was, it was really crappy weather, it was cold, and we got to connect in a moment by just being home and present in home and connected in sanctuary. And for me, this is really what this time is made for. So it's not only in doing the deep work, the inner quiet of self, but also home as sanctuary for myself and my family. So let's have a look at the threads that are binding these two hemispheres together, Northern and Southern hemispheres. So when we think about it, Northern Hemisphere is heat and expression, and Southern Hemisphere is cold and introspection. But both of these are inviting us into embodied leadership. Embodied leadership, asking us to own the path that we are walking, leading from self, and being the woman who leads herself on this path, taking full responsibility for the path that we are choosing and for how we are walking on this path. There is a maturity of the vision. It's about getting radically honest with ourselves. So are we still holding the same intention from earlier this year? Or is it time to change some of that vision? Have we outgrown our own vision? You know, one of the things that we are always encouraged to in the personal development world is to set the 5-year and the 10-year goals. And this is not something that I've personally ever resonated with, because I don't know who I'm going to be in 5 years from now. If I think I'm going to change that little, then I think I'm underestimating myself. Never mind 10 years from now, when I can focus on what is this season created for, what is this year of my life created for, and then adjusting the whole time, because some years we change so radically in a short period of time that we've outgrown even the vision that we set for this year. And other years, it's a little slower, and that is perfect too. But it is about just checking in with ourselves about how the year has been progressing and where we are and what have we outgrown at this time. Both of these hemispheres are inviting in the sacred pause, the integration through stillness, the observation of the self and who we have become. And then my personal favorite, nature as the mirror, the stag and the wolf, the velvet and the fang. Both are wild and both are sacred. What a wonderful moon to delve into this year, this month, this time. So whether you're in the Northern Hemisphere or the Southern Hemisphere, you've got some introspection to do. So if you have a look at your workbook, it will also be broken up into Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere. Do the one that resembles where you are living at this time, whilst holding the overarching energy of both, as the moon does. We also know that we have to be present with what is. I think that's one of the most powerful conversations I had with Darren the other day. We were talking about something very specific, and I didn't like what I was hearing. And so I was going, yeah, but you have to take into consideration, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. And he goes, yes, and I'm not discarding any of that, Al, but I can only have the conversation with you for where we are at right this minute. Right now, what is happening? Understanding all of that is still good, but this conversation needs to happen for right now. So the beauty of being in a group where we hold both hemispheres is that we know what is coming whilst honoring where we find ourselves right here, right now. So delve into this, enjoy it, honor and celebrate yourself for your own masterpiece. Witness your becoming with pride and reverence, and choose your path wisely. Let us know in the group what has come up for you, what you have discovered. And as always, if there's a woman out there that you know can really benefit from this work, please invite her into our space. Thank you to everybody who has brought in new members. Welcome to all the ladies who are new here. Such a delight to see our space grow and knowing that this is really what women are being called to more and more at this time. How do we as women start embodying the feminine power after we have already embodied masculine strength? Couldn't be alive at a better time than this, my sister. Okay, have an amazing time with this work. Let me know if you need assistance in anything. If you haven't received the email and you want to be put on the email list, let me know as well. Other than that, I will see you in the group afterwards. Have a good one. Cheers. Place one hand on your heart and the other wherever you need support. Your womb, your belly, your throat, your shoulder. Let the breath deepen. Inhale, recognition. Exhale, resistance. Inhale, remembrance. Exhale, rigidity. Let yourself soften, as if the velvet of the antler were growing within you, as if the wolf's quiet wisdom were echoing in your bones. You are not rushing forward. You are not shrinking back. You are here, in the now, with all of your becoming. Let your breath begin to gather the insights of this journey, the choices, the truths, the quiet recognitions. They are not fleeting. They are forming the foundation of the woman you are becoming. Feel that truth. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to rise. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are on time. Take one more breath in, long and deep. Let it ripple through your spine like a cord of gold. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Return to the room. But don't rush. Stay soft. Stay sovereign. Stay home in yourself.